So, I had a great day today. A few meetings. I'm working on a lot of projects that are in like pre-development and just trying to pull money together and start construction. So anyway, just wanted to kind of just check in, let you know that I wore my little vintage radio today, i.e., inspired by, and I put this on my bottle to remind me what they're inspired by. It's this Initio, right? And Paragon. So that way, you kind of understand that because it helps me, number one, stay organized and more focused about what I'm purchasing. But more importantly, like if I've realized I'm wearing certain things more, then maybe I need to kind of explore that DNA more and go and maybe this is a house that I just want to start, purchasing, their their actual bottles, right? Like I'm not gonna go, I don't know how people do it. Like I don't know why people would do this, but go out and buy something that's $400 or $500 without ever smelling it, testing it, seeing whether or not they would even wear something that's even 90% closed. And if you can't blow through a bottle that of something that's even 90% closed, 85% closed, whatever, if you're not using it in real life, you don't know when to use it, how to use it. Why would you go out and spend $500-$600 for something to sit on a shelf? That doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I put a lot of dents in my bottle, so I'm starting to realize, learn about, because I'm learning. Look, it's like if you were to come into the real estate side of things. I'm someone who's been doing this for 25 plus years, right? I've built probably 1,000 units, done all kinds of real estate transactions, and so it's the equivalent of you coming into my world, right? Like if you were to take a risk without ever learning about something, learning the basics, oh my God, it would devastate your life. You know what I mean? So on the fragrance side, I sit there and I watch people. I'm sitting there like, I'm learning how and when and what situations maybe certain fragrances would work, right? And the reality is this: in the business world that I've been around people with a lot of money, and honestly, this is a really small community. A lot of people do not wear fragrance, right? Whether it's in an office setting, whether it's in I'm trying to think, like just business setting, business meetings. And what I realized, honestly, people with more money do less, right? Like they do less. Like they're not looking for name brand stuff. They're not, right? Like they're part of, look, I mean, I think people get to a point where they have so much money that I don't know. I don't know. They get bored with life. So I don't ever want to get to that point. Like yeah, definitely. Like I love to be able, I love the challenges. I love grinding. Obviously not for the rest of my life, but I love, the fight. You know what I mean? And I think part of that is, always trying to be better, look better, smell better, and for me, the fragrance is just the cherry on top, right? Like it's not, like a lot of people lead with that, and I don't. I think it's just kind of the added kind of final piece to everything else, which is, your mindset, your physical, trying to get healthier, trying to look better, because the fragrance needs to go with the entire thing, with the entire package. And that's how I feel, about it. And that's why, like, I really, really enjoy it, because you could genuinely find, as I'm learning, and I want to kind of go down this path of learning more, fragrance, is an added layer to the overall package, right? It's the final kind of touch. It sets the tone of the day. It sets the tone of that person that you are that day, that personality. It sets the tone when you walk into a meeting. It sets the tone of engaging with other people. And that's what I love about it, you know. And so, anyway, just want to let you know that today was a vintage radio day. I didn't. It's still spring. It's March. It's a little cold. About 60 degrees out, so it's perfect weather for this. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. Worked well. Projected well. People loved it. They asked me what I was wearing. Like, they didn't, you know, plum is something that people are not very used to wearing. I mean, or smelling, I guess. And so it is a beautiful scent. And, you know, funny story, and I won't go too long. When I started learning about fragrance, and a little bit like, right, I'm like, and also I just kind of like learned a little bit about these inspired by affordable kind of options, and everybody kept hyping up this vintage radio, and I thought, oh, wow, the bottle looks pretty cool. I thought it completely smelled different than what it does, and so I ordered that. I think I'd ordered Liquid Brune. I'd ordered Afnan Collector's Supremacy Edition, and so those were the first 3 that I ever bought. Afnan was amazing. Like, I really, really, really like that fragrance. I really enjoy it. Now, I don't know whether or not I would ever wear that to an office, but that's definitely something that I wear on the weekends. Something that I love, you know, when I'm hanging out, kind of a chill kind of, you know, situation. Liquid Brune, thank goodness I had ordered it. It was very cold out, and so I think I started ordering since like last fall, and so I had the opportunity. I was like, all right, I just didn't get it. I honestly, I didn't understand, like, why are people hyping this stuff up. And so, you know, Liquid Brune, and then the vintage radio, that completely threw me off. I'm like, what the hell are people finding? Like, I did not get it. I didn't understand it. People were hyping this thing up. You know, the only other colognes I had prior to that, yes, I had the Sauvage, I had the Paco Rabanne, the Gold Bar. Then what else did I? Oh, and the Mont Blanc. I had smelled it on one of my fraternity brothers, and I thought it smelled amazing. I said, oh man, so I got that right away, not realizing that it was inspired by, right? Like, so anyway, the point is that, so my experience with fragrance was very limited. And so here I am smelling Liquid Brune, Vintage Radio, and Afnan Collector's Supremacy Edition. I keep messing up the name. And so that was my first exposure, and I didn't understand what it was inspired by. I thought these were like original fragrances. And so, you know, look, a few months later, I don't know what, 6 months later, I guess, probably less, 4 or 5 months later, really would have gone down a rabbit hole. You know, I budgeted some money to kind of really test this and kind of go down this road, and learning about kind of what I really enjoy wearing. I've definitely put a lot of dents in my bottles. Some stuff I've given away because it just wasn't me. So now I'm kind of like, I think, and look, I'm glad that I'm somebody who I am who I am. I'm very analytical. I like to kind of just because of the nature of my work, right? Like, I like to explore things, so created a whole spreadsheet of all these different fragrances, learning about different houses, fragrance houses, what clone of what, so that way then I could test, and then I kind of like, oh wow, like, okay, maybe then I really like this type of DNA. I really want to put my nose on, or get my nose on some Armoages, because I really like Purpose 50. So I like that. You know, obviously for now that it's starting to warm up, I'm gonna obviously every clone of Louis Vuitton, right? And so I want to definitely kind of, test those out as it gets warmer here up in the Northeast, and and just kind of just learning, right? So yeah, and then eventually definitely going to, I feel like with my path, and I think with a lot of people's path, but I think mine is a little bit more focused because of who I am and the way I went about it is I didn't buy anything and everything. Like when I started, kind of like I wanted to test different clones from different houses, and I just wanted to kind of get a feel for what they smell like, right? And just wanted to kind of just get a feel for kind of their vibe, right? And then I just kind of like, okay, I definitely like this, and then I went and collected more and more and more, and I realized, okay, I like these type of houses. I definitely want to, and now I'm kind of graduating to the next level where I'm starting to buy a little bit higher end, I guess, clones like Yamaleo and Alexandria, and maybe a little bit of Dua. Then I eventually I'm definitely going to buy the bottles, right? Like, the real thing. But I'm enjoying it right now, like I'm really kind of going through a lot of these, I'm blowing through some bottles in terms of, especially like L'Immensité and those inspired buys, and from Banadir, which is, it's pretty interesting to kind of see their twist on it versus Yamaleo. Obviously I've made a trip to the Louis store, and kind of got my nose on it, and kind of really honestly, and also went into Nordstrom's, and to kind of smell the Creeds and the Louis Vuittons. I went to their store, and going to probably go over to Philly and check out the Armouage there at a location that they have, and just kind of like really put my nose to these things, because I like to see like how close these clones are, or these inspired buys. Like, I don't even like to call them clones. These inspired buys are, because the reality is that if I'm not blowing through a bottle, and then eventually then I realize that, okay, I really use this, I know when to use it, now I want to go out and get the real thing. Like, why would I buy something for the sake of ego and have it sit on a shelf? Like, that's just dumb. It's dumb to me. So when I hear these horror stories of people going into debt, people buying, just blind buying stuff, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I look, these look, I let these influencers that kind of in the background, that, just play on YouTube, and because I enjoy it. I really do like listening to it. I don't know why. I just like, it's better than listening to all the other horrific things happening in the world. So at least this is a hobby that I enjoy, and some of these people are really fun to watch. Like, they are entertaining, and so. But they're very good. I mean, the way they can hype something up, man. I was literally about to buy that Thriller, but I was like, what the hell? Like, I know, like, I was focused. I was like, I know that I'm buying and I'm trying to learn about these houses. Why the hell would I go buy this? It looked great, it sounded great, and I was like, now I'm hearing a lot of people having regret, about buying that stuff, because it was really hyped up. So now, I've learned I probably spent, honestly, I just ran the number the other day. It wasn't a lot of money. I mean, it is money, but it wasn't like a significant amount compared to what other people have spent. I probably spent maybe like $1,500 in different freight, like buying, look, I think I'm up to, like, if you round up at $30, maybe a bottle, maybe 50 bottles, I guess, maybe. So I'm just using round numbers. So which is cool, I'm just testing stuff. I'm just really honestly learning. This is learning for me. I'm like the freshman. This is, look, like I said, if you were to come into my world, you would be the freshman, right? Like you would be, you wanted to come into the real estate world. I've built commercial buildings, I don't know how many stories, single family, I've done multifamily, I've pretty much done it all. And now venturing out and starting my own company, right? And so it's the equivalent of you coming into my world and trying to buy a 30-unit building when you've never even built a doghouse, right? And so that's right. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? Like, and people do it, but they've lost an enormous amount of money because they don't know markets, they don't know financing, they don't understand how money works in real estate or how to operate and manage a building. And so when I flip it and I look at the fragrance world in that way, I'm like, damn. But you know what it is? It sounds like, oh, well, it's only a $200 bottle, it's a $50 bottle, it's a whatever, But you start realizing, like, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottles later, you're a few $1,000s in, man. And you got stuff sitting on your shelf that you can't do anything with and that you're not even enjoying, And so that's why I don't listen to people, man, that make fun of or criticize people that buy dupes or inspired buys. Because I'm like, if I wanted to, I could go and buy the real thing, but why would I do that? If I haven't even figured out my profile, I am now. Or, when I actually do go smell it, I'm like, okay, I'm not sitting there trying to figure out what notes are missing and, like, does this thing last longer and it smells 90%, 95% there? I don't know, maybe it's I'm not into the art side of it. It's still an A to me. A 90 and definitely a 95 is still an A. And if this thing lasts longer, like there's certain houses that you hear and like Creed, I'm like, why the hell would I go give them $600, $800 for a bottle because it smells good for 3 hours? 4? I don't get it. You guys can stick with the art. I want something that works, smells great, and so that's why I like Unwatch, because it seems like it is definitely, obviously they're much more challenging fragrances, and I definitely want to kind of graduate to that, but you're gonna get your money's worth, you know what I mean? Other houses where like I'm seeing that, yeah, you will get your money's worth. You get, because I'm not just gonna pay for the sake of a name. Like, I'm not, like, what am I, 8th grader? Like, I'm some kid like that fell into some marketing hype, and I'm paying you for your name or some history that this cologne had and it used to have when it first came out. I'm not beating that. You guys can stick with the art. I stick with things that function and make sense. So anyway, just so damn, I ranted. I'm sorry about that. I'm still learning this YouTube thing. So hey, look, Vintage Radio, spring day, word to work, word to a few meetings. Worked well, man. Smelled good, and actually I resprayed at like midday, because I walk around with a decanter, right? Or I think that's what it's called. I will spray again because I love the opening notes, and I like that thing I like people to smell me. I don't overspray, but I definitely respray. So anyway, all right, have a good one. Still learning this YouTube thing, but I think it's important for people not to just learn about the fragrance, understand it, and not, but also how does it operate in real life out there, man? Like, how are you wearing it? How are you, what are people's reactions? And honestly, I'm realized, like, look, certain fragrances don't meet the situation, and that's what you have to learn, and I think that, so that's all part of learning. Look, I've made mistakes. I've choked people out, man. Woo! I have choked people out like a UFC fighter, and they didn't have the chance to tap. So yeah, definitely, man. Oh yeah. Anyway, all right, guys, have a good one, man. God bless. And yep, thank you for joining me.